Okay, welcome to notes for 6-4B. This should be really just for 7th hour on Tuesday. I have a doctor's appointment, so I need to get to. So we're going to go ahead and do these notes for 7th hour. Anybody in 2nd hour wants to watch this, more than happy to have you watch it, especially if you don't understand while we do this in class. Hopefully you're asking questions, but if not, you have this as a backup. All right, so we are going to do some dividing of binomials and trinomials and polynomials. That's what we're going to be working on today. On Thursday and Wednesday, we did some multiplying of them, so we figured out how to do that. Now we're going to do some dividing. All right, so let's kind of get a refresher, kind of old school math here. I want to go ahead and divide 985 by 23. So how I'm going to write that is the 23 goes on the outside, and it's going to be divided by 985. And the first thing, if you remember how to do this all the way back to elementary school, hopefully we did this a little bit in middle school as well. But if I'm going to look at this, I want to know how many times does 23 go into 98? Off the top of my head, that should be 4. Because I know that 4 times 23 is going to be, calculator-wise, it says 92. So that goes in there 92 times. Now remember, everything that goes underneath has to be subtracted from. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract this. That's 98 minus 92, which gives me 6. Should give me 65. Okay, looking at that, how many times does 23 go into 65? Well, 23 times 2 is 46. It definitely goes in there. 23 times 3. That's 69. That's too many, so we can only use the times 2. And what was that? 46, I said. So 23 goes into 63 or 65 twice. 2 times 23 is 46. I'm going to subtract. What is this going to be? Carry the 1. That's going to be a 9. 19. So I have 19 left over. Well, remember, how do we write that? So we write that 42 remainder of 19, right? Remainder of 19. Another way we can write this, and we need you to be able to understand this, is this could be 23 remainder 19 over, or 23. And I wrote that wrong. It is going to be 42 out here. Hopefully one of you caught that and go, Mr. Mosier, made a mistake. I did. It should be 42 remainder 19 over 23. Okay? Now this comes into importance when we move into the polynomials and trinomials and all that. Okay? So remember, it can be written as 19 over 23. The remainder over the divisor. All right? Let's do one more real quick. I've got 10,262 divided by 42. So 42 on the outside, 10,262 for there. So how many times can 42 go into 1? No. Can 42 go into 10? No. 42 into 102. Well, looks like it's going to be 2 times. And notice that I write the 2 over, not the 1, not the 0, but the 2 because I'm going to 3 digits. Well, 42 times 2 is 84. Remember, I have to subtract. So that's 16, 18 left over. So 18, 186 when I bring down the 6. Remember, that's how we do old school division. We bring down the next term, right? So 42 into 186. 42 into 186. 186 divided by 42. It's really going to be about 4 times. So I'm going to plug a 4 in. Well, what's 42 times 4? It is going to be 168. Subtract 168 from 86. 186 minus 168 is 18. Bring down the 2. Well, notice that 182 isn't really big difference between 186. So it's going to go 4 times again. Once again, it'd be 168. Well, 168 goes in 182. Well, this is easy. 14. So my remainder is 14. So I know that my value is 244 with the remainder of 14 over 42. Okay? All right. So that's our answer. Hopefully that kind of brought you back up to speed with how to do old school division. I say old school because I'm old and this is how we did it. So old school division. All right. Next one. The next slide is basically going to cover the steps that we're going to do with this, okay? This should be a guide for you that if you start to struggle with a little bit, use this as kind of a guide, all right? I'm just putting it on here for you. It shows the different terms, the quotient on top, the divisor, and the dividend, all right? So as we do this, if you don't understand, these steps are the steps that we're going to be using while we're doing this. All right. So the first one, I have x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x minus 4, and that's going to be divided by x plus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write x plus 4 divided by x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x minus 4. All right. Well, the same process, the same with regular numbers, we're going to do with these, okay? We're going to do these with the variables. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, what do I have to multiply this x right here by to get x cubed? Well, what x do I have to multiply to get x cubed? Well, it's x squared, right? So in essence, I'm going to take this term, x plus 4, and I'm going to multiply by x squared. I'm going to go ahead and put that x squared up here. Because remember, there's two terms, so we're going to go 2 times here. And what is x squared times x? Well, that's x cubed. And what is 4 times x squared? Well, 4x squared, right? So I know that when I multiply x squared by x plus 4, I get x cubed plus 4x squared. So where am I going to put that? Well, I'm going to put it underneath. So underneath goes x cubed plus 4x squared. I'm going to put it in parentheses because there's a reason why I'm going to put it in parentheses. Remember, with division, we have to subtract everything underneath. Subtract everything underneath. So here we go. X cubed minus x cubed. Well, there's nothing left for there. And that should be what we want every single time, okay? The first term should always eliminate. That's what we're going for. Next, 3x squared minus 4x squared. Well, that's going to give me a negative x squared. The next step is I'm going to bring down the negative 6x. So the negative 6x comes down. Well, what do you think we're going to do here? We're going to keep doing what we're doing. I need to know, what do I have to multiply this x by, this one right out here, to get negative x squared? Well, it should be a negative x, right? So negative x times x plus 4. Well, that becomes negative x squared minus 4x. This is what's going to go underneath. So here we go. Negative x squared minus 4x. Now remember, I always put it inside parentheses, right? Because we are going to minus that whole term. Remember, this minus this whole term out here, right? And that should make sense here in just a second. Because a negative x squared minus a negative x, right? Let me make that x a little bit better. Negative x squared minus a negative x squared. Well, what's minus a negative? Positive. So minus or negative minus minus becomes nothing at all because this becomes a positive and therefore they eliminate, right? Now, a negative 6x minus a negative 4x. Well, this 4x becomes positive, so This is now a negative 2x. A minus a negative becomes positive. Therefore, negative 6x plus 4x is a negative 2x. So now I'm down to negative 2x. Bring down the negative 4. So I brought down the negative 4. Now ask myself, what do I... Oh, one thing I forgot. Up top, I need to go ahead and write my negative x that I multiplied by, right? My negative x, I need to make sure I put it up there, okay? Don't forget that. I almost just did. All right. So, what do I have to multiply this x to make it look like negative 2x? Well, that should be pretty easy. It's a negative 2, right? So, negative 2 times x plus 4. Well, that should be a negative 2x minus 8. Well, that is what's going underneath. A negative 2x minus 8. Put inside parentheses because it is going to be subtracted. Okay? So here we go. A negative 2x minus a negative 2x. Well, this becomes positive. Negative plus positive. It goes away. Negative 4 minus a negative 8. This becomes positive. 8 minus 4 is 4 on the positive side. So up top, I needed to go ahead and write my negative 2 up top. I've already used my last term. This is my remainder. It's a positive 4, so it's my remainder. So here goes my answer. X squared minus x minus 2 plus, because this is a positive 4, over my divisor, x plus 4. That would be my answer. Okay? All right. I know that's maybe a little difficult for you to see the first time. We've got 3 more of these, so hopefully it's going to help, okay? All right. So that is your answer. Moving on. Let's look at the next one. I made the second one a little bit more difficult, and that is I want to remind you about something. Remember, we always got to make sure these are in standard form, right? So if I look at this one, I've got a 4x cubed plus 5x plus 1. I'm missing an x squared term. As we have talked about, if it's missing, we've got to add it. And we add it by placing a 0 in front of it. So the reality of this is x plus 1, 4x squared plus, 4x cubed plus 0x squared plus 5x plus 1. All right. So we've added our 0x squared term in here. Now, here we go. What do I need to multiply this x by to make it look like 4x cubed? Well, 4x squared. Go ahead and place it on the top. 4x squared times x is 4x cubed. 4x squared times 1 is 4x squared. Put it inside parentheses. Why? Because I am going to subtract these from the top. Remember, I'm going to subtract. 4x cubed minus 4x cubed is no x cubes. 0x cubed minus 4x squared becomes negative 4x squared. Bring down the 5x. And here we go. What do I need to multiply this x by to make it look like negative 4x squared? Well, how about just negative 4x? So up here, right, negative 4x. Negative 4x times x is negative 4x squared. And negative 4x times 1 is negative 4x. I'm going to put it all inside parentheses because I have a negative or minus sign going out front. Negative 4x squared minus a negative 4x squared. This becomes positive, so this eliminates just like we thought it would or should. And 5x minus a negative 4x, this becomes positive. 4 minus or 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's 9x. Bring down the 1. Bring down the 1. Here we go. What do I have to multiply this x by to make it a 9x. You're right, just 9. So up here, write 9. Okay? So I have 9 times x is 9x. 9 times 1 is 9. Put it inside parentheses. Understanding that we are going to subtract that from the top for the term above it. 9x minus 9x, nothing. 1 minus 9, negative 8. So that is my remainder because I have no more terms to come down, so that is my remainder. So my answer is 4x squared minus 4x plus 9, right? Minus 8 over x plus 1. Because that is my remainder. 8 is my remainder. It's really a negative 8, but that is my remainder, and it goes over my divisor. So this is my final answer. All right, I've got 2 more, okay? Here we go. X minus 1, well, 8x cubed minus 6x squared minus 5x plus 3 is divided by x minus 1. So here we go. What do I have to multiply this x term by to make it equal to 8x cubed? You will write 8x squared. Write it. 8x squared. 8x squared times x. 8x cubed. 8x squared minus 1, or 8x squared times negative 1 becomes a negative 8x squared. Put inside parentheses. Add the subtraction sign to the outside. Yeah, can't speak today. Add the negative sign outside. We're subtracting 8x cubed minus 8x to the third. Nothing. As we want. Negative 6x squared minus a negative 8x squared. This becomes positive. Negative 6x squared plus 8x squared becomes a positive. I wanted to write 8. Becomes a positive 2x squared. Bring down the 5x. What do I have to multiply this x by to make it 2x squared? 2x. That 2x goes on top. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 1 is a negative 2x. Put it inside parentheses and subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared. Nothing left over. Negative 5x minus a negative 2x. This 2x becomes positive. Minus negative 5x plus 2x becomes a negative 3x. Bring down the 3. What do I have to multiply this x by to get to negative 3x? Negative 3. Go ahead and write it. Negative 3 times x, negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1, positive 3. Make sure we put them inside parentheses, put the negative or the minus sign out front. Negative 3x minus a negative 3x, well, this becomes positive, so this becomes 0. 3 minus a positive, so 3 minus 3, this becomes 0. First time I don't have a remainder, right? So my answer, since I do not have a remainder, is going to be 8x squared plus 2x minus 3. That is your answer. All right. Remember, if you have questions, always feel free to ask. All right. We got one more for you. Hopefully these 4 will help you have done it. And you can see, okay? This one is going to be x squared minus 5x minus 6 divided by x plus 4. All right. Once again, first step. What do I have to multiply this x by to make it x squared? X. Okay? Great. Let's do a different color this time. So this is going to be x. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. put inside parentheses, and subtract. X squared minus x squared is nothing, as we expected. Negative 5x minus 4x becomes negative 9x. Remember, the signs change inside, right? So negative 5x minus 4x, 5x minus 4x is 9x, and that's a negative 9x. Bring down the negative 6. What do I have to multiply this x to get negative 9x? Negative 9. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times 4 is a negative 36. Put it in parentheses, put the subtraction sign up front. Negative 9x minus a 9x. This becomes positive. Negative 9x plus 9x, nothing. And negative 6 minus a negative 36 becomes positive. Negative 6 plus 36 is 30. So I do have a remainder here this time. So my answer is x minus 9. Since it's positive, it's plus 30 over x plus 4. And there's your answer. Reminder, always pause, catch up, do any of that kind of stuff, rewind, kind of ask your questions. What is he doing? Where did he get it? You always can pause it, always can rewind it, go forward, ask any questions. Happy to help. We'll see you on 7th hour. We'll see you on Wednesday. All right.